Hello everyone, this is Dan here, and today I want to talk about spawn chunks. Now, in simple terms, every Minecraft world has a player spawn point somewhere in the overworld. It's based on the seed and the world generation, so you can't just, know where it is. You have to figure it out. And anyway, I did it, and for this world, for example, it's right here where the light is, and actually it isn't a point, it's actually the entire pillar of one block stretching all the way from bedrock to the ceiling of your world. But anyway, uh, basically what that means is that the first time you appear in the world, or if you die without being connected to a bed, you will appear in the 20 by 20 area centered around the spawn point. So I just marked it out with red, and as you can see, all these glass blocks all around is where I spawned after I did, well, kill myself all this time. So if you want here, /kill, and I shall respawn somewhere within this red square. So right, this is really interesting and everything, but it's not too important, let's say. What is important and much more interesting is the fact that centered around this area is a 12 by 12 chunk area. If you don't know what chunks are, there are 16 by 16 block areas, so that would mean it's a 192 by 192 block area centered around here, and which can be considered as spawn chunks. Now this 12 by 12 area, I outlined it, as you can see, all going all the way there. That is actually, skip that one at the corner, and what this is actually an 11 by 11, and I'll get to the reason for that later. But anyway, the actual spawn area is 12 by 12 chunks. And what's really special about this is that things such as redstone, minecarts, hoppers, item despawning, water lava, or fire spreading, or as you can see, I set fire to the roof and then left and came back and it was still going. So yeah, what else? Let's see. Animal growth, iron golem spawning, and several other things. They continue to work as normal, as even without you or any player being nearby to load them, as long as you're somewhere in the overworld. Yeah, it's actually a bit more complex than that, but let's just stick to the simple explanation that if you're, doesn't matter, 100 blocks away or 100,000 blocks away from here, as long as you're in the overworld, everything inside this area will continue to get loaded. Which means that if you build an awesome iron farm here and let it run, it'll continue producing iron 24/7 as long as, I guess, someone is loaded or logged into the world and somewhere in the overworld. Right. So the question you want to ask probably is, how do you find this location in your own world? I mean, it won't always be shown as this redstone lamp, obviously, and it won't have the area around it marked out, and you have to find it. It's located somewhere in your world, and let me just give you a brief explanation of, I guess, how to find it. Alright, so there are two ways of finding your spawn point, and both of them will get you the spawn point in the exact coordinates, so not relatively like it's somewhere in this area. It'll actually give you the exact coordinates, which is very important for figuring out the exact coordinates of your spawn chunks, but we'll get to that later. So step one, and this can be done right from the very beginning when you come into the world. You don't really need to have anything, you just have to have a simple or an access to an easy suicide machine. I guess just lava or drowning or falling off. If you're in survival, and creative, you can just /kill yourself. So what you want to do is just kill yourself in some way, either right from the start, and you should appear in the spawn point or in the spawn area around the spawn point, or if you appear at your bed, such as, let me see, bed. There we go. So if you have a bed, and notice I need to sleep and everything, and I won't do that, but if you've slept on it and you die, you will appear at said bed. But if you destroy it and it's no longer there, then when you die, you will appear right in the same area. Yeah, I do count the blocks here as part of the area, in case you were wondering. So anyway, What you want to do is die an excessive amount of time until you can put this box around all the spots you have died, including them right here, such that the minimum size of this box is 20 by 20. So as you can see, I died at the very edge there, I died at the very edge here several times, I died at the very edge here, and several times along this very edge, such that after I've died this many times, this entire area can be bound only by a 20 by 20 block. Lines 20 by 20. I could count them, but let's not. Alright, so that's step one. Once you do that and marked out the 20 by 20 area, you find the 4 blocks right in the center of said area. So there you go, that's 10 one way, that's the 11th one, or the 10th one if you count it from the other way. Right to the center, same thing from the other side. Right, so once you did that, you've got these 4 blocks, so you just stand here, go F3, you find which way is north, so that way is north, there's north that way. And what you want is the, southeastern side of it. So southeasternmost block is your spawn point. So that's it. You can just place a block there and mark it out some way, maybe with a sign or a circle around it, or something. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, that is the point. Now this can take some time, especially with all the dying necessary, and unless you just die like 100 times and then come in and see if it's all good, you definitely don't want to die and go in and check whether you finally found the maximum area, because it'll take much longer. So, or if you don't want to die, this is why there's method 2. Now method 2, this is something I found, and it's actually rather cool. If you've got an area somewhere here, so you just more or less die once, or know where the spawn area is. If you don't want to die, what you can also do is just break the bed, go to the end, jump into the portal to get back to the overworld, and you will appear at the spawn points. Pretty much the same thing as you dying. So you just flatten out the area. You'll probably need to flatten that out if you were doing it with the markings, since it's a lot easier to do if you've got a flat area to work with. So here's just, it's centered already on this. Fine. You know what, here, I'll break all of this just so I can show you that in no way am I influencing it. So there you go, there's just a flat area here. So what you want to do is you want to just jump through this portal. Give me a moment. Sometimes it doesn't load the video for some godforsaken reason. So right, you go to here and you grab yourself some items. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just random ones, so then they don't stack. After which, just throw them in haphazardly all the way around this portal. As far as I know, it doesn't matter which block you throw it in. It just matters the direction, because it appears exactly at the spawn point and flies with the same more or less velocity. So anyway, not to bother you with all the details there, but there you go. It spawns exactly like that. There you go. Notice it's centered exactly on these 4 blocks. So let's get some redstone so we can mark them out. So that's these 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's build it up a bit, and you will notice that it's exactly the same 4 we had in method 1. So coming over to this side, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pretty much the same as on the other side. And much as with number 1, we go find north, then we go to the east, the southeastern side, break that one, and mark it out as there's the spawn point. There you go. It's very simple. I actually like this method a lot better, because with this, it may take you a while, and you're never actually sure if you're exactly right. I mean, if you get the 20 by 20, you're obviously correct, but if you got 20 by 19, you need to wait for that very last side, or else you don't have it. Whereas here, you just jump through, throw in a couple items, and a couple moments later, you found it. Alright, now that we found our spawn point, let's get back to the actual spawn chunks and outline them. So this is where this coloring that I did for this comes in. And this is where you should probably know something about the actual chunks. So let me get a bit of an explanation of what a chunk is. So for those of you who know, just kind of sit down and relax and ignore me for a bit. For those of you who don't know, please do listen. This is quite important. So a chunk is a 16 by 16 block area going from the very lowest point of it to the highest point. You know, if you cross the chunk border, if you go into the F3 here, and look at the x and z coordinates, and it says x, random number in, well, okay, not random, but, you know, x coordinate number rounded to an integer in brackets, then 2 slashes, and the c. The c is the current, the x coordinate for the current chunk. Notice if we cross it here, it goes from -27 to -28, and the one in the in brackets after it goes from 0 to 15. Pretty much the same as with z if we go in, you know, the north-south direction, and it changes. So what it says is that this is the x -28, z 48 chunk, 8th chunk, anyway. And we're currently, what was it? This would be the border, this is the first block, the second block, third block. Note that, you know, this would actually be the first one, but as with most computers, we start counting at 0. That's just the way things work. And pretty much the same here. So this would be the 0th one, the first, second, third, in the z direction. Alright, so you can use that to mark it out. I already did it for here. So if you notice, this is, all of this is the chunk -26 and z 48. So everywhere here, if we go out, it turns to 47, and here it turns to 25. But anyway, that should be enough for what a chunk is and how to find them. So what you want to do is, after you found your spawn point, you want to mark out the chunk that it is in. So that is marked out by this depression and the, what is it? The ground surface, and the colorful way I marked it. Now, the markings are very important, and let me get right to that. So, starting from here, you can notice the north and western. I divided into 4 quadrants. If you actually take a look, this right here is the actual center of the chunk, but the coordinate subdivisions is on the, again, the southeastmost side here. So it's actually off by a block in both directions. So if you actually counted, this would be, let me break that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8, 9. So that's a 9 by 9 area instead of the 8 by 8 as you might have been expecting. And this has to do with lots of code inside Minecraft that we actually probably don't want to get into. So just mark it out. Just remember that the northwestmost one is 9 by 9. The southeastern one is a 7 by 7, or you can just go to the very center, mark it out like that, and these two are the ones you want to start as the boundaries. Anyway, that's enough, but you know, just copy that and recreate that. And this is very important because starting from this chunk, you can mark out the 11 by 11 chunk area, which is all spawn chunks, because this is the central chunk, and all of that is, what is it? It's got 5 chunks on here, starting from this one. So this would be chunk number 1 in this direction, then chunk 2 and 3. This is the 0th one, and same thing in that direction, and that direction. But we want to find that 12th one because, you know, the larger the area, the better you can work with it. So what you do is, once you've done this and outlined the entire chunk that your spawn point is in, let me mark that on the floor here just to let it be a bit more clear. What you want to do is find which quadrant your spawn chunk is in. Go to the very edge of the chunk the spawn point is in, and mark out the area of it. So this is the farthest, the edge of the chunk. If you notice, we're on, what is it, 0.15. If we step into here, we step over the boundary, step over the boundary. So that's one chunk here, one here, one here, and one here. If you want to kind of mark them out, they'd go like that, and like that, and the last one. Hopefully this isn't taking too much time. With the purple one being the one that the spawn point is in. Right, so there you go. And what you've actually done is this right here is the very center of the chunk of the spawn chunks. So starting from this one, you can go that way 6 chunks. Starting from this one, 6 chunks, this one, 6 chunks, and all of them 6 chunks. Or if you start from this exact one and mark out 11, it tells you which chunks you need, or which direction you need to increase it by. So since we're here and I marked out the 11 by 11 coordinates, since it's on this edge, what we do is just fly off to this edge here and just increase it by 1 chunk in this direction and this direction. So if you notice here, this is the, once again, the very edge here. We go between 2 chunks, and here would be the next chunk, and here would be another one, and another one here. Whoops, there we go. Alright, so if you mark it out completely and just keep going to, I won't completely mark it out, but here's the edge here. Here's the other edge here. Hopefully you're following me along and can see where that's the end here. Alright, so there you go. Just that square marked by these two here and a bit along here is the extra chunk. And obviously following this line, you can just start from here and go all the way to that very edge on that side, which will mark out your 12 by 12 chunk area. So hopefully that made at least a bit of sense to most of you, and if not, you can, I guess, rewatch the video or find another video on spawn chunks, because you definitely should know about this, because it's a pretty awesome feature of the game, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who came up with looking for the spawn chunk area and finding the player spawn point based on the end portal. Anyway, let me get back to actually the entire reason I started this, and I've been trying to find a way of getting items like the Horde of Obsidian from the Obsidian automatic Obsidian wither farm that me and Panda came up with, into the Overworld, so it can be stored here without you having to grab all the obsidian by hand and carry it from the end to your storage system. So that's something I've came up with. Basically, as you probably remember, every single item that you throw through the portal will appear on the, I think I messed up on, yeah, on these 4 blocks centered more or less on your player spawn point, where the south eastmost one is the spawn point, goes a bit to the north and west. But anyway, I should mention it spawns on the highest one, so if you've got blocks above this, it'll spawn somewhere there on the highest one. But the actual important block is this one. So if you, for example, right now, if I throw in items, it'll spawn, or they'll spawn right here. And if I actually seal it off like this, it'll still spawn properly. But if I seal it off like this, it'll spawn here. And this is because it checks on this block, on this one right here, finds the highest one, and then spawns it on, I guess, the crossroads with a bit of variation to each side. Whoops, didn't mean to break that. So yeah, what that actually means is that if you go to the end, and I've just built up a very simple system here, if my video would actually work. Thank you. Alright, let's go up here. And what this is a very simple water channel ending here. I wanted to go right to the edge, and because of late levels, you can't place ice at the very edge. I had to set it up like this with this boundary here, build it out of I guess either glass panes or iron bars would work, or whatever your way works. But if you've got obsidian from your obsidian farm being generated and passing along here, it would go right to the edge, hit there, and fall down into the portal. Going through the portal, the items would land right in here in this water channel, be channeled along, and you can either stretch it off to wherever your storage system is, or just store them locally here. Because, you know, if you're passing out of, like, if your base slash storage system is outside these spawn chunks, you're going to need some chunk loaders to make sure that all the items get along. Well, they won't despawn, it's just that you'd need to kind of follow them along afterwards, and what you'd have is after several hours you'd have several, like 100 double chests worth of items in their dropped state trying to pass through, and you probably will lose most of them when you try and pick them up since hoppers have maximum speed. But anyway, let's see, and there's the obsidian I dropped through, completely collected in this channel. Alright, so that's about it. I just wanted to show this method of getting obsidian out from the end, and the only way to do that was with explaining the player spawn point. And since I started explaining that and how to find it, I thought I might as well go into a bit briefly about spawn chunks, and that's how all of that went through. But I hope you liked it, and you know, if you're ever going to be building the obsidian farm that I have a tutorial for, you're definitely going to need something similar to this to get all your obsidian into the overworld, since the overworld is probably where you're going to be using it, and I highly doubt that anyone likes transferring several hundred double chests of any kind of item through portals between here and, you know, your storage system. Very annoying. So yeah, hopefully you liked it, hopefully you found it useful, so, you know, comment, like, give a like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, so yeah. This was Dan, so hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll be signing off now, so see you guys.